there's a theory out there that you have to have RGB to build a gaming PC. Is that true? Or is it just a waste of time? Let's talk about it. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another super exciting video. Actually chat in this case, but maybe not really. So I had this idea recently, it's been going on for a while, to make a series of episodes of just chatting and where you could ask me questions and get my opinion on certain things. Now, this is computer related, and obviously I'm not a computer expert, but I think that over the months and couple of years that I've been posting videos, some people have had negative comments, and I'm sure that some people wonder why I think a certain way. So we're going to go ahead and do that. It's just me talking, so if you don't want to listen to me talk for a while, then you can go ahead and skip to the next video. But this episode is episode 1 of Ask Robert Anything. There will be a Discord channel if you go to my Discord where you can post questions, and then we'll use those in future episodes. At some point in time, this will be a live stream, but I don't have access to do live streams at the moment, so they're just pre-recorded. So since I don't have a question to answer, I'm going to ask myself a question. And the question is, why do I hate RGB so much? And I don't know. So let's talk about it. I recently came into the gaming PC space a couple of years ago, and I noticed that after having been gone from the PC world for a few years, many of the computers had this sort of rainbow lighting, and I didn't understand what it was. As time went on, I saw what it was, and I started to question why people use it or have it. And I didn't know the answer at the time. I just thought, wow, that's a lot of rainbow stuff going on there. I don't know what it's for or what it does, but it just seems to be in every build. But as time has gone on, it's getting more and more excessive. Now you have these builds with just so much RGB. Everything's RGB. The mouse is RGB. The mouse pad is RGB. You know, the video card's RGB. The CPU cooler is RGB. And I guess it's a fad or something. I don't know. But why I don't like it is because, well, I'd say I don't hate it, okay? I just don't like it. The reason being, I build really budget gaming PCs. We're talking like $200 or $300 max. So to have RGB in those systems, you actually have to spend more money, right? Because they don't come with RGB. So cost was a concern for me to have to put it in a system, and it doesn't do anything. RGB does absolutely nothing. So people say, okay, well, it's for aesthetics. But the thing is, nobody can see your computer. Only you can see your computer. Unless you have a roommate or friends come over, nobody looks at your computer. I started playing competitive games online, and not one person ever asked me what my computer looks like or what the specs are. Nobody cares. So who is the RGB for other than yourself, basically, and pictures you might post on social media, I guess. But I come from the car world of building cars, so you would have people, for example, with a Honda Civic putting a big spoiler on it and 19-inch wheels. But at the end of the day, it's still a Honda Civic. It didn't do anything. They just wasted money. They made the car slower, actually. So that's kind of my thinking process with RGB, is you're spending all this time with RGB and it does nothing to further enhance the performance of the computer. It's just for looks, for nobody that actually looks at it, I guess. That's where that started from. But that was my opinion. And then, but yeah, recently now you see these builds and there's 9 or 12 fans in the case and they're all RGB. And the case is, when you see the picture online, it looks like something out of a Vegas strip thing, with the neon and stuff. And I think that people don't actually use it that way. I think that they just do that for the pictures to show what it could be. Because I can't imagine if you put the computer on the desk, let's say, and you have 9 RGB fans, for example. Well, the computer is going to be either to the right or the left of you, not directly in front of you. So you're going to have light coming from one side of your face from the computer. And to me, that would seem distracting when you're trying to look at the computer screen and play your games. So I don't know. I don't know why people want this. I don't know why people do it. Now, as far as cost, the thing is that now, at this point, 2025, basically any fan kit you buy or AIO or case comes with RGB anyway. So it's not like you're paying extra for it. So that's okay. You don't have to use it. I mean, you don't have to plug it in. And I have since learned some things about RGB that I didn't know before. So over time, I learned you can turn it off, right? You don't have to have it on all the time. You can control the colors. I assumed that when I would see the pictures, that lighting was just like that all the time. But now I know you can control it, whether it's via an external controller or if it's a newer computer, you can control it via software. So that's fine. So I don't have a problem with it as much anymore, except for the fact that people put so many RGB things in their computers. And so what happened to me was I've never had RGB because I don't want it. It doesn't do anything for me. But I have since, if you've been paying attention, I have since gotten a new PC and it came with a lot of RGB in it. And so I tried it because it was there. Even the memory has RGB, and that's, to me, that's a little ridiculous. I mean, RGB memory, really, it's, I I don't have words for that. But I said, well, it's in the computer anyway. It's all new. So I should try it and see how it is. So I downloaded the software, which would control the RGB. And it wasn't terrible. I have there's 3 RGB fans at the top. There's 1 in the rear. There's 2 in the intake. And then there's the memory RGB. So I discovered that you can control all of that in the software and you could lower the brightness. And it doesn't have to be the rainbow puke like I thought that people always used. So I did use it for a couple of days because the computer is to my left and it's in the corner and there's a lamp there as well. So I thought, well, maybe the lighting of the computer could replace the lamp. So I don't have to turn the lamp on and off. I usually use my computer late at night, so it's dark, and I figured I can just use the lighting from the RGB instead of the lamp to light up the desk. And it did work. It was just white light, soft white light, and it was fine. It was acceptable, but I eventually stopped using it because then during the day, when I would turn on the computer, the RGB would come on still, and it just seemed unnecessary. So I just went back to using the lamp. But I found something else interesting that's a positive note for RGB, which is I have had for some time an RGB keyboard, and I just controlled the lighting on that via the keyboard, and it basically it lights up the keys. It has backlighting, and then the light actually shines through the letters, so when you're using it late at night, you can see which letters are where. So when I received the new PC and I plugged it in and I installed the software for the RGB of the PC, it actually changed the keyboard RGB color and brightness to match the PC. Now that is a function that I like, because you can, if you're, whatever, I guess some people like to change the color every now and then. So the keyboard would then match the PC, and that's kind of cool. Even though I don't use the RGB on the PC anymore, I still do use the RGB on the keyboard to light up the keys. And then I also learned that there are RGB mice. So I'm assuming if you have an RGB mouse of a certain spec, you could probably also control that with the software, so everything would match. So there is something to be said for that, because I just have a cheap black mouse. I have not purchased a nice mouse yet. The keyboard's nice, but the mouse is not. It's just some HP or Dell Office mouse, because I don't use it that much. Because when it's dark, I can't see where the mouse is because it's black. I do have a white mouse, but I don't use it because it's kind of a cheap one. There is something to be said for that. I probably will try to find some sort of budget RGB mouse and see if I can synchronize it with the software so it'll light up as well. So we'll see on that. But anyway, that's my opinion of RGB. I think that it has a place. I just don't know why. Whenever you watch PC flipping or build videos, you'll notice, and I watch tons of these videos, by the way, so it's not like I'm just picking on one person, but every single build, they immediately talk about RGB like it's some sort of requirement. And I get it. I mean, if you're selling PCs, you have to have RGB. I don't know why that is, but I can imagine, let's say you post your PC on Java, and there's 8 PCs of a similar spec. 7 of them have RGB, and then yours, the one that you're selling, doesn't have RGB. Nobody's going to buy yours. And I think it's because most of the people that buy these computers are younger people, and they're so used to RGB now at this point that I think that they have to have it even though they don't know why. It's kind of like a brainwashing thing. So it's almost, they say in the builds, you have to have some sort of RGB in the build in order to sell it. So I guess that's just the way it is. I don't agree with that. I think that it's majority rules. I mean, everybody has RGB. Everybody likes RGB. My one little opinion out of, 500,000 people doesn't really matter. So I would just say, if you're going to have RGB, keep it tasteful. It doesn't need to be so bright and all over the place, and you don't need 12 fans. That's a whole nother discussion. I don't know why PCs have so many fans in them now. It's like all fans. Top, front, bottom, rear, everywhere. There's just fan. And I'm really curious about what the airflow like is inside one of those PCs. But that's another discussion. Anyway, that's the answer to my question why I don't like RGB. It doesn't really do anything for the PC itself. It could potentially cost extra money to have it, and it's a little bit annoying. But in certain cases, there is a function to it for certain use cases. So I get that. Anyway, let me know what you think. Do you think that you should have no RGB, a lot of RGB, or tasteful RGB? And like I said, go to Discord. The link is in the description or on my main channel link tree, and go to the Ask Me Anything page and ask questions, and I'll give you my opinion in the next episode. Until then, keep the RGB to a minimum, please. We'll see you next time.